True Shades of Nature. Working in a disaster relief area opens one's eyes not only to the suffering of the people affected, but also brings out the true character in many people. When the tsunami hits our shores, while most people responded with bravery and generosity, there were plenty of stories of people using it as a publicly gimmick to further their own agendas. Soon after the rehabilitation work started, it was clear that a massive amount of money was required. Funds started pouring in, and almost everyone was seen to be busy with fundraising. Among them happened to be my friend Rekha. Now Rekha is a good person, but talking to her for too long gives me a headache because she refuses to ever come to the point. She lives alone in Bangalore as her husband is in Dubai and daughter is settled in Delhi. She has a lot of energy and often does not know what to do with it. One day, when I was busy supervising our tsunami relief work in Bangalore, she landed up in my office and started chatting about the effects of the waves. The description carried on for some time till I got tired and said, "Yes, Rekha, I know. I have just spent a few weeks in these areas and have seen for myself the extent of devastation. Did you have some work with me? I am busy with coordinating our relief program." Then she came to the point. "You know, in the area where I live, there is a youth club. The boys and girls from that club went from door to door collecting money for the victims. They are very keen to hand over the money to you. Will you come and accept it? It would encourage them to do more such work." I was happy to hear about this and agreed to go there. After all, youngsters need to be appreciated when they take initiatives and do such work. But Rekha was still sitting, looking hesitant. Finally she said, "Sudha, the children have ended up spending money from their pockets, going all over the area on their bikes and modes." Immediately I replied, "In that case, Rekha, tell them to deduct their expenditure from the collection before handing it over to me." Rekha left my office looking happy. I reached the locality on the appointed day. I was astonished to see the elaborate arrangement has been made for a full-fledged function. There was a well-decorated dais and market. A sound system was in place and even the media had been invited. Coffee and biscuits were being served from a table placed in one corner of the field. Soon the function started. There were plenty of people willing to talk, and for a long time each person spoke about the tsunami, the devastation, why it had happened, etc. People who had never visited the areas tried to speak knowledgeably about the plights of the victims. Finally, Rekha, who was moderating, handed over a beautifully decorated purse to me. A gang of young people came into the dais and proceeded to garland me. A mic was thrust at me, and I spoke a few words of appreciation and encouragement. Finally, it was over, and I made my way back to the car. Already in my mind, I was planning the things I could buy with the contribution: some milk, powder, tarpaulin, or fish nets. I thought it was wonderful how they had collected so much money and handed it over to me out of sheer trust. With such thoughts still on my mind, I opened the purse. 2 pages fell out first. I looked closely and realized it was the expenditure list. There were amounts marked again: marquee, video, photo coverage, sound system, flowers, decoration, taxi hire, etc. They had collected rupees 10,295 and had spent rupees 10,285. A brand new 10 rupee note fell into my hand from between the pages. That was their final contribution to the relief work. The next morning there was a photo in the paper of the beaming Rekha handing over the purse to me. I looked at it and added rupees 10 against her name in a list of contributors. It is of course not always that the donors work with their own agendas. Sometimes the beneficiaries too pose problems. When disaster strikes an area, I have seen that often the actual population of that area almost doubles. Beggars and other people from the surrounding and even far-off places start pouring in. hoping to win some easy bread by joining the refugee camps and standing in the ration queues. When the relief agency don't coordinate their material well, they end up giving away surplus material to the victims, who then sell it to others. In fact, I have come to realize that our country does not lack relief agencies and donors. What we lack is an efficient system of dispersal. So at the foundation, we have devised a system. When we take in a relief fund, we first do a survey of the area, talk to people and study the depth and nature of the damage. Then we go with only the material that is essential. Before we start dispersing, that we make a list of all the people in the area and hand out coupons. The material is handed over when they present the coupons to us at the camp. This way, we are sure that the aid reaches the right people and bogus victims cannot take advantage. The system is tedious and time-consuming, but we are assured that we are helping the right people. During our tsunami relief work, we went once to the village, where we initially had a meeting with the villagers to discuss their requirements. The next day, we came with our material and a queue started forming. Soon we realized we had a problem on our hand. Many people were demanding extra material and some others were returning time and again for further helping. We had taken about 50% more than the amount our list indicate, but at this rate we would have needed 100% extra. While I was trying to talk to some people and tell them that things were going wrong, a middle-aged man spoke up from the crowd. Yes, there are some extra people here today. They too need these things. You are not doing us a favor by giving us all this. They were given to you by other people to hand over to us. It is all ours anyway. And if people come here only because you want some fame saying you have done great work, you are doing this for your selfish reason. Getting all this material is our right, and we shall decide how much we want, not you. If you cannot give us, go away. We won't accept anything. Many volunteers were very upset to hear this. Some had taken leave without pay to stay in these areas and do the work because they wanted to help. Arguments began and voices started getting raised. But with age, I have learned patience and realized something had to be done before a full-fledged fight broke out. As calmly as possible, I said, "When we came to your village yesterday, you said there are 200 families here. Each one wrote the family's name and number of members. You agreed yesterday that you needed material only for these 200 families. To be on the safer side, we have got enough for 230 families. Now you are saying people have come from outside and they too should be given a share. This is a disaster area. We are not entertaining guests and relatives. You have to survive. We cannot do magic and create extra material. If you feel we are helping you out of selfishness, it is not better that we are selfish in this manner rather than holding things for ourselves. Please don't try to threaten us. Remember, if someone is helping you today, you can be grateful and help someone else in need another time. Today people are queuing up to help you, but after a month the world will forget. If you burn your bridges now, you will pay a heavy price. Your behavior today will determine how the world behaves towards you later." The man had no answer. He bowed his head in shame.